I am waiting right now to go live on IG. And as soon as I get the thumbs up on that from IG, we're going to go ahead and start the show.
Oh, I thought it was like 6 o'clock on the dot. It's only 5:59.
And boom, we're live on IG also. And let's start the show.
All right.
Happy Monday to everybody. It's what, the 5th of February, and it's already February. I could have sworn we were just celebrating New Year's last month. Now we are celebrating Lunar New Year. And what happened to Victoria? She'll be she'll be back.
There you go.
But we're now celebrating Lunar New Year. We want to welcome y'all back to the episode. It is our third live stream episode of the year, and it's been going pretty fun. Last week's was pretty dope. Had the Bay Area boys over here, along with my cousin Email from the Seattle Boxing Gym. Last week's sponsor. We still want to give them a shout out. Wanted to go ahead and introduce my co-host before we get to the ladies right down here, because y'all know it is ladies' night, and we definitely want to get into it with them. E, what's going on, bro?
Man, nothing much. Just glad it's kind of Monday. Got ready for it to do the pod, and now we're here.
Yeah, is it raining up there? So he's still in Seattle, and he's still in Seattle. So is it still raining up there?
No, actually, it's not as bad as like what California is going through right now. Because normally it would be dumping and hella cold, but it's actually pretty warm right now. So it's damp outside. We just got rained out for like I think the last hour. Nothing too bad, nothing too heavy.
Just the norm.
Just the norm. Yeah, the PNW weather.
But from last week's episode, I think we got something going on. I mean, did you want to do that a little bit later, or you want to just hit that off right off the bat with a little randomizer?
Yeah, let's just well, we could do it later on while we get a little break happening. We could go ahead and do the raffle for everybody who was tuning in last week.
Cool. Yeah, we did have some pretty good engagement on that. Unfortunately, folks, if you're watching this right now, I just want to go ahead and drop it right now. If you're watching this on IG IG Live, please do yourself a favor, especially when we're doing these giveaways. And if you want to participate on the actual podcast itself, on the comment section of these, please go to youtube.com/@coldricemedia. We'll be able to see your messages and everything. I know last week we had a bunch of people on IG. They're chiming in, and it was just, they're saying hi and everything like that. I swear I would have said hi back if I saw y'all. But just get up on youtube.com/@coldricemedia. You'd be able to just hang out with us. Before we move on, also, I know we're kind of postponing a lot of stuff here. I do want to give a quick shout out to this gentleman right here. You can't really see it, and it's up there. I actually got it nailed up there, or it's up there pretty stationary. Want to give a quick shout out to Blackheart, and they had hit me up over the line and hit me up on IG, and then I ended up hopping on a phone call with Jeremy. He's actually the one that hit me up a little over a week ago. He told me his experiences and also his story, and I was very awestruck by the whole thing. And he said, I'm going to send you something over, and he definitely came through his word. So I've got his piece up here. I wish I could bring it a little bit closer, but in future episodes, or if you visit our IG at Cold Rice Media, you'll see that piece right there. It's going to be hanging with us here. So I definitely appreciate it. We've got Fum saying hi. Hi, Fum.
Hey.
What's up?
Yes, know y'all.
Yeah, what's up?
But I guess we should let's get this popping. We've got a couple lady friends that decided to join us here for our ladies' night. We had 3, unfortunately. Our third one, T. Shout out to you. I'm sorry that you can make it. A few things got in the way, so it's all good. We'll make it work another night. But we've got a couple of our guests here tonight. E, you want to go ahead and introduce our first guest here?
Yeah, what's up, Halima? How you doing? Thank you for joining us on our live podcast. I know we talked a little bit over the weekend, but now we're here, right? Ladies' night. Say what's up.
Hi, I'm Halima from Seattle. Aquarius.
Hey.
Oh, we turned this into a dating show off the bat. Let's go.
Yes.
What's your sign? What's your sign?
Oh, I
Yes.
saw that on your I did see that on your IG. You started putting it out there, the Aquarius season.
Yeah.
Loving. Is that what it was?
Mhm.
Loving. I don't know. That's
Flaky.
all I
I don't know.
remember.
You're
Flaky.
flaky? Ah.
No, I actually just posted this Kerry Washington video, and I was like, oh yes, that's so me. You can be flaky,
It's sweet. It's sweet. It's sweet.
but it's Kerry
So,
Washington, so.
so tell us a little bit something about you, just something real quick here. Like I think you had a celebratory moment today. Tell us about your background.
Yes. Yeah, so born and raised here in Seattle, Washington. I'm Cham. Not a lot of people know what that is. We're indigenous to Vietnam. I am a newly realtor. Just closed on my first listing this past week.
That's what's up.
So pretty excited.
Yay.
What's the pronouns? She, her. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, that's dope. No, congratulations on the new thing. I know it's nerve-wracking to just get out there and like really put yourself out there, in that type of market, especially now that I think in Washington State, it's like everyone seems like they're just very much into just the real estate business up there, since I guess it's still booming. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And our other guest tonight, I've been kind of trying to chase her down for a little bit. I was trying to get her in a show last year, but I learned about her efforts, and I learned about she was name dropped by a couple of people that I have come across ever since I've moved here to Dallas Fort Worth. You've got some fans out here,
couple.
actually.
Wow.
Well, a couple that was name dropped, and when I say your name, they're like, "Oh, she's so funny," and this and that. And do I need to say more?
Wow.
Is the check in the mail? No, so joining us tonight, very, very much appreciated for her to take a little bit of time. I know you've been busy with school and just all the other stuff with the content creation. She goes by that one Lao girl on IG. She's also part of the Supmugok collective on IG also. SUPMUKGOK. Her name is Victoria. And thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just chilling.
Thank you for having me.
I know this is nice and nice. You got your hair did and everything. This is nice.
I did. I went
Thank
to
you.
go blow dry for you guys and everything.
I know.
Put makeup on. My mom's like,
Halima
where you
also.
going?
Halima's out here just clearing out the background. I'm glad you all came out.
I'm trying to stay in my position here. You guys can't see back there.
Now I explain it every week. A lot of people come through, and our previous guests also. It's like a lot of people come through and say, "Hey, I'm nervous," and everything like that. All this really is for us to get together. It's just that it's just really a platform to have conversations about yourselves, your opinions, and also what's going on in your life, and also at the same time, as we get together, have the opinions of just technically what's going on, in just so in society itself, maybe some current events. We'll touch on that, but it's a rarity that we actually come through and have the same amount, because there were supposed to be more ladies than the fellas here. We want to really pick your brains. A lot of the shows that we've had in the past, actually, just a bunch of dudes, a bunch of like masculinity on here, and the conversations usually lead to around that, right? It's just so it's nice to have both of you on here to join us on some of the stuff that we want to talk about. And I did, Halima, we had our conversation. I did encourage you to like come through. It's like if you had something to come back at us, that'd be dope. Same with you, Victoria, as we go through this whole thing. E, did you? So I know you, and I mean, so Halima personally, and I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, so y'all hung out, and I know you guys had like a little like hangout session over the weekend, and I know you said you guys had your little cipher of like conversations, like an early type of like digging in. So do you want to care to share, and you want to bring any of that conversation?
No, it was just a weird conversation. I mean, it was just, I don't even know if Halima was there. I think you were there, but it was like somewhere along the line.
Who are you talking to?
I was talking to the group of the girls that are hopefully they're tuning in right now. But
yeah, no,
dude, she was just asked, she was just asked the question. I was like, so what did Rheimmond ask you? He was like, did he prep you on anything before give you some like pre-questions and stuff like that. He was like, she brought us like body count. I was like, body count.
So that was the one thing. Well, no. That was
Is
funny.
that something that you guys even want to touch on in this episode, or should we just kind of keep it pretty traditional?
I don't mind. I
Pretty
mean,
generalized. Okay.
yeah.
So let's start with that, and then we can kind of take a couple steps back after that, because I think it was like in our first episode, one of the things that came through. So we usually field a bunch of questions, right, from our IG. A lot of people just throw some stuff at us. Actually, let's ask the same two questions that we had asked in our first one. So the first one was there's a lady that, or one of our lady friends that popped in and said, why are men nowadays, like, they're a little bit more effeminate, and why do they, why are they a little bit more effeminate, or why is that thing an ongoing thing now? Do you feel that that's a presence? And that was our thing. That was the conversation around that. Do you have a opinion around that, Miss Victoria? What happened to Halima?
Oh, about the sassy men.
Yes,
that's what it is. They're sassy. Yeah, these little men are sassy. You're right.
Yeah, just
I know. I kind of like it.
What?
I like when they're sassy,
criminality. Is that a word?
What were you saying, Halima?
I feel like they're more in tune with. That's probably not a word. Oh God, they're more in tune with the feminine like side, which is fine. Like, we don't need a hard dude walking around all the time. It's nice to be. I guess like
they're like in tune with their emotions, right?
Yeah, and that too.
What's the line with that? What is the line with? Because I can understand. I mean, there's and that is actually it's actually pretty healthy that a lot of these guys, because it's been suppressed before. It's like you have to be this this Mr. Tough guy, and I think that's I think it's more regional. I think there's still a lot of that stuff that exists, to where you suppress it a little bit and just be like just your traditional growing up as a little tough guy or whatever, the masculinity is there. But I think in a lot of the other areas, especially in Washington State and Cali, there's a lot more. It's like, what, and I'm like that. It's very healthy, especially with all the stuff that we go through daily. You got to have some sort of the outlet, or just let yourself go, right? But is there a line there to where you're like, man, you're just a little too open, or a little too sensitive, or a little, is there a line there? What's your thought?
I think it just depends on who you're looking for. Because like for me, I don't mind a guy that's in tune with his emotions and can tell me their feelings, but for somebody else, it might just be too sensitive.
Yeah.
So
like they want somebody to care for them and be like that traditional man. So it just depends on who they want.
That's good that you bring that term. So is that still something that, I mean, it's to each his own. Let me ask you both. Are you still leaning more towards the traditional man, or are you looking for that hybrid?
I feel like behind closed doors, it's nice to have the more sensitive guy, whatever. But then I like a tough guy, like, it's that good median. I don't, it's hard to really say what's your median, but my median, I feel to each their own, for sure.
That makes sense. I was just reading that when guys fall in love, they act like little kids.
Yeah.
And they, they're just like very giddy and very affectionate, which like I think is very cute.
Yeah, Eric.
I can see some girls getting like that's
I get giddy, kind of childish, and act kind of like hella super annoying. So I get that part. But then when it stops, will you girls still like, okay, where did that go? Like, would you want something to be like that for the rest of your lives? Like, oh, I loved you in the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah. I think that is true. I think there's a lot of truth to that, just because you're at that wooing stage, and you're trying to toughen up, or you're trying to show your best, your best masculinity, because that's really, when we were still kind of at least for me, it's like I was trying to put my most attractive and masculine part forward just to actually woo the girl, right?
Mhm.
And after that, it was after you got the girl, you kind of like, you're right. You kind of start softening up and everything like that. But to Eric's point, it does disappear a little bit. It does kind of wane away, right? From experience, have you seen that? Or is that still like they're still giddy and playful throughout the whole time?
Man, for me, I try to stay giddy and playful, but I think they just get annoyed of it. It's like, man, grow up. Like, what? You love
There is
this in the
that.
beginning. I was like, now you're telling me to grow up? All right, then I ain't gonna do shit no more. I ain't trying to make you happy. Fuck that. We're just gonna be miserable.
I feel like if a guy stopped being giddy and like affectionate to you, he just don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because
Over it? Is that what you guys think?
I think he just doesn't like you anymore. Like he moved on. He's giddy about somebody else.
Ooh,
Right.
I don't know if that's always the case though. Like, I don't know. It
Is that
can
kind of a
die down.
telltale sign?
I can still love you and be with you. And
But are you bored then? You know,
yeah, I'm
like
not. Does it get boring though? I mean, for ladies, do you see that as like a weakness? Like, oh man, this shit. I know he's gonna just be bored of me. And first thing on top of your mind, oh, is he cheating on me? Is he talking to somebody else? Is that a common thought that you ladies get?
yeah. To be honest, yeah, I mean, I'm always thinking that. I think that's just normal
Like,
behavior.
oh my God, it's like you don't trust me enough in a relationship to be like, okay, he just bored me. I know he ain't talking to nobody else. But that's the first thing that goes on through your girl's head is like, okay, my man is probably talking to another girl.
For me, it's not that, but it's just more like I always talk about I want a guy that loved me and liked me. Because like you can have love for somebody and also not like them. Like you don't want to be in the same room with them. So
Oh, I get what you're saying.
But is there a point where it's a little too much to where it's like if they are giddy and playful and everything like that? Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it comes down to daily. But then is there a little bit? It's like I wish he would start acting all, act a little more tough or a little bit more manly, or are you okay with them like just sitting there tickle fighting with you? I don't know what the giddiness. I know my giddiness with my wife, but it's just I don't know how other guys do things.
I think there's just certain situations where you can't act like that. Like if somebody is pushing up on me, I need you to be a tough man and get this fool out of my face.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to go see a meal and take some boxing lessons real quick before I do all that. I ain't trying to. It's like, man, girl, why you talking shit to this big old dude for? Why you always do that every time we go out? You got to pick the tallest, toughest dude and talk shit to them, and then you want me to deal with that shit? What the fuck, man? So we're going home.
Why are you blaming it on her? What if it's the guy that's picking on her?
I'm like, why are you picking on my girl, Megan? Is there a reason why you're doing this right now? It's like, I'm just trying to have a good time. Is there a reason why you're fucking with her?
Please. I can't look bad in front of her.
Can't deal with this bullshit right now because I know I'm going to hear it from you and I'm going to hear it when we get into the car. She's going to be like, why didn't you say something? I was like, I did. I asked her if there was a problem. That wasn't enough. What you want me to do? Go head up and get beat up? What the? You don't
Is that
love
a thing
me.
though? Is that a thing to where I mean, and that's the thing. If it all depends if you're actually out there. I mean, a lot of that stuff happens at the bars and in the clubs and everything like that. That's not. Do you guys still go out with your man? I don't know what your current situation is, Halima. I know Miss Victoria over there is in a little bit of a long distance. But is that something when y'all get together? Is that something that y'all still do, or is that still in the whole nightlife of yours in the relationship wise?
As far as what?
As far as going out to the clubs and to the bars and everything and possibly attracting certain situations like that?
I've been with my man for almost like 15 years. So I like have my blinders on anyway. So like I don't put myself in the situations where someone can talk to me or another guy can talk to me or I don't put myself in those situations. So I don't it doesn't really happen. I mean, I've had people buy me drinks in front of him, like, and or a guy would buy me a drink, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it real quick, but it wouldn't be. But I'll keep it like very okay, thank you, and I'll like turn away,
Does he trip? Does he trip?
No, like Well, I know he's tripping in his head, but he's just like,
oh, he's tripping. Hey, no, he's tripping. He's like, oh, who's that?
So
Who that?
my thing is like, if I took the wifey out, right, and then she was, and this has happened before, is when she sit there and she come back with a drink, I'm like, why don't you get me one? So it's like go out there and get your drinks, so it'll save some money in my pocket. Or if you can, if you're mad, like I got a homegirl too, get 2 drinks and come on over. Like no. That's actually happened, but it's just I'm not really tripping at that point, especially if you're with, we've been together for that long. I mean, I send her out and I'd be waiting in the car and she'd just go kick it. How about you, Victoria? What's your thought? Like, would your man strip if he started collecting drinks?
No, I don't think so. He wouldn't trip. But I'm just saying, like, I was saying like a past relationship I was in where there was somebody that was coming at me and that didn't stop. So I'm just like, I would hope I could have a man now that would just be like, hey, you need to stop fucking with my girl. Like,
yeah. How long will you allow it to happen? Because there's all of a sudden like there's this, it's like once the guy starts, once your man starts flexing to another dude, and then all of a sudden would you allow it to be physical, or we start be like, yeah, stand up for me, and then all of a sudden when he starts throwing blows, it's like, no, what are you doing? What are you?
I know
it's kind of a thing, like, because I don't go back, I don't go backwards. When it's going forward, it's like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, I have a big mouth. I will confront the person myself. Like, you need to.
You got your own.
Like, I put my hand. I'm like, no. And if you don't understand no, and my hand in your face, then
that's a universal language right there.
Yeah, that's just like no. The stop sign when you're walking, and this is a no. Don't walk.
Yeah, nah. When you drunk and you put that up, the other guy goes like this, and then before you know it, you're in a relationship. Like there's no, like when you're drunk, there's nothing out there, and there's nothing to stop it. Okay,
like, that's not a high five, bro. I'm just saying, get out of my face. You're also loud too, and I get it. I get the feeling that when people say, "Oh, you're dating a loud girl," and she's crazy. I was like, "What do you mean by crazy, man?" It's like I've dealt with crazy before, so I'm like, it can't be too bad. But now, hearing what you're saying, it's like, okay, no. She'd be like, like that, get out of my face before I tell my man's on you.
I don't know. I'm pretty patient. I'm a funny girl, so I could make fun of the situation. But like,
that's even better.
When it gets to the point where you are pushing up on me for a whole hour.
An hour?
Yeah, that's long. He's persistent.
Hold up. You need to talk to us a little bit more about the situation. An hour? Where were you at?
Oh, damn.
I was at a bar.
At a gym?
At
a bar. This guy was just
doing her
trying to dance with me the whole time. I'm just like, I don't want to dance with you. First of all, you can't dance. No. Second of all, I don't know you.
Should have just battled him. So he was up on you.
And beat me, I'll give you my number, but then you got to battle my man next.
I'll bring out my Jabberwocky mask.
You should have.
Not the Jabberwocky mask.
That must have been, it's Cali though. Cali's, Cali does their thing over there.
What part of Cali what part of Cali are you from?
From Fresno.
Oh,
Fresno.
Okay. So that's northern?
Right in the middle.
Okay.
Right towards the
middle. I don't know anybody or anything that's out in Fresno.
It's just agriculture.
So you're telling me there's clubs out there where all the plants and vegetations we have.
Yeah. I was dancing between the cow and that guy, and I was trying
Good
to.
God.
It was a country bar. Oh, I get
it. So you're both okay. So you're both still into the chivalrous man. The guy that would just still open the door and have have his sweater ready on a breezy day for you and everything. Like, why do you think there's a few like some women out there that would rather not do with that anymore? It's like it seems like there's like I don't need somebody to open doors for me or anything like that, or need I can take care of myself type of thing. Why do you think that is existing right now?
I feel like society is just turn its way where a woman got to be independent. We're all independent women, like Destiny Child. And so I feel like that's where
he did the single ladies dance.
Not that one. But yeah, I feel
So
like that's where it's turning, and everybody's like, no, I got this, which is great. You got to be independent too, but it's okay to submit to your man sometimes, so that's my take on it.
That's your okay. You just
Be
allow them to
submissive.
be
Yeah,
allow
sometimes
them
it's
to
good.
be your
Yeah,
man.
like it's good to
I
be
think that makes
independent,
sense.
but like to a certain extent, it's okay for your man to take care of you as well, right? So,
How about you, Victoria? What's your take on the the strong lady, the one
Oh,
that's like I
lady.
can handle my own. I don't need you to do this for me. Because I mean, there's like I think I almost have this thing to where it's like there's more of a presence of that outside of the Asian community, because I think there's still a lot of, there's still a lot of appreciation and there's still a lot of chivalry, I would think, in the Asian community, from what I see, from how my friends and how and how my friends treat their wives or their women, or even like their parents and everything like that. So
I don't know. I feel like I see a lot of very strong, independent Asian women who are just like out there grinding, hustling, being a mother, being the caretaker and the provider. And the reason why I lean towards wanting a chivalrous man is because I'm like, I'm tired. I'm not trying to do all that.
I need some help.
That is some real. That's some real
Yeah.
talk. That's some real talk. Just because I mean, we all know how our moms are. I mean, they're just grinders. Sitting there like my mom had. She had her day job, and she would just sit there. And my dad was a double job grinder also. But then she was sitting there like driving around, getting after she gets off work, gets food, goes to the store, gets food, feeds us, and then just hope that we even eat, because we were badass kids anyways. And then that her efforts were all for naught. She'd do some laundry, do whatever else thing, and by the end of the night she'd be there for my dad, and like she'd have to pick him up because we had a single car. And I'm pretty sure like your parents are definitely, especially in the Asian community and in cultural community, there's a lot of hard working women. So I think it goes backwards, like how about you take care of me now? I see that's the case. But there is that push. There is that push. And like you said, there's a lot of strong Asian women, a lot of strong women, period, that are actually on the rise out there. But to your point, Halima, you're saying it's like you feel that there should be, you should reserve that space, or that situation where you would be a little bit more submissive to what your man wants to do for you. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I mean, it's okay. Like, why not?
Yeah, why not? Shoot. I think I've just been in such strong relationships. Like, we just clash heads. Like, okay, now we're an equal. I gotta do this, half of this, and then, she gotta do the other half or whatever. I mean, which is cool. I mean, there's nowhere where I feel kind of bad about it. I mean, we're living in a different century from compared to like what our parents were going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always one that's going to be more dominant. In my family, it was my mother, just like Rheimmond. She was the one that's working, cooking. She wasn't cooking. She was cleaning, paying for everything, stuff like that. My dad would stay at home and do the cooking and watch the kids and stuff like that. So it's kind of a role reversal. Yeah. And then, I don't see it any different. That's how I grew up basically. So when you say to be a little submissive, yeah, I would like that. It's like, cause I've been around powerful women my whole life. And for me to have someone that's actually listening and being a little submissive makes you feel a different type of way, more of a man.
You guys, you either you mind sharing how your moms were? Because it is interesting as we're kind of unpacking this, as to where it seems like that strong women rise and everything was actually the previous generation. They're already dang strong, and we're just, and then this generation now, like the women are just kind of like, yeah, I kind of want somebody to take care of me, because I don't want to work as hard as, just grind as hard as moms. I can actually still take care of myself, pay for my own way, but at the same time, I need somebody to be there, kind of baby me a little bit, giggle with me, and get in my way if somebody's rubbing up on me for an hour.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So what was mom's like? What was mom's like, Halima?
Oh, mom's, she is definitely whatever you were saying about the generation before. She worked 2 jobs at one point for a while. My biological dad left us when I was like 1. My mom with 2 kids by herself, so she grinded, forever. Like, as long as she could, she wanted to work 2 jobs. Even to this day, like, she'd want to work overtime And I'm like, you don't need to work overtime. Like, for what? She goes, I don't know. I just want to, but she doesn't need to at this point. You know, my dad takes care of her, pays all her bills. Her money is just extra money. But for her, it's like she's always been on that go, 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 grind, grind, grind. She cannot stay still for, so that's, that's where we got.
Can you relate to that, Victoria? Is that kind of just how it went down? Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's the same. So like Fresno's all agriculture. So my mom started, with farming, and then, factory job, and during that time, my dad is like going through college, so she's putting a family of 7 into like school, and my dad's going through college, so she was the one that was like, picking up the tab for everybody. But then also she was the nurturing mother where she cooked for the family. So that's why I see like that's too much.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff where they need. I mean, if we can go back, I would like. We definitely need to get that subsidized to where it's like, if she said they're at home doing some extra stuff, they need to subsidize that, because there's a lot of other things that they're subsidizing now that don't make no sense. So, yeah, no, it definitely says a whole lot about just how everything, your conversations with us right now and your input on this thing is carrying over. I was kind of hoping, it was like, nah, I want me a weenie little boy, and so I can control them type of a panel we got here, because we can go at that a little bit, but you guys, we too common. This is all we got, just a lot more of a common ground here. The couple of other episodes also, like, the question was, and this was the body count question. It was just one of those things. So let's say you put yourself back into the actual scene, right? And at your age now, if you're out in the dating scene and everything like that, how would that play into how you would want to approach a man seriously? Because for us, it was our conversations a couple of weeks ago. It was like, it's especially like the promiscuity of the women, and like, the whole strong women, and just kind of putting yourself out there, and a lot more promiscuity and flirtatiousness, and being able to, I can do whatever the heck I want. I don't need to be in a relationship type of stuff. That kind of took it to play. It was more of a situation to the conversation went to where it's like, it seems like a role reversal on how it was back then, because it was more of a body count conversation around men back then. I want to say maybe like 10, 15 years ago, but it seems like conversations around now. Is that, number one, do you see that kind of in, you don't need to call nobody out in your circle, or if you know anybody, you kind of see that as high body count type of stuff? And what are you looking for?
I'm such a girl's girl that just like, if that's, if you have a high body count, like, more power to you. You've experienced a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know.
You did.
Yeah, you did, girl.
Yeah, you had fun.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Yes.
What's the point of having only 2 or 3 for you to be inexperienced and not know what you want?
Inexperienced.
Is there a number to where, I mean, so we were talking about it before. We were like, okay, so like, is there a number to where you'd look at him a little sideways, like, ooh, girl, that's a lot.
Like, over 80?
Yeah.
80? Over 80? Damn.
Like,
I don't even know 80 people.
That's okay. Like, if that happened, I'll be shocked. But you do you.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just. Okay.
But if you were feeling them, right, would it matter?
Are we talking about your homegirls, or are you talking about a man?
Saying, hypothetically. Either way, if a man or a woman, like, if it was me with a high body count or a guy with a high body count, I was like, I don't think it should matter.
Okay, so
I would be shocked
if it was over 80. Okay, so let's say in a parallel universe that you were single and you were dating right now. I'm assuming you're in your early 30s. And you were like, okay, I want to date somebody maybe around like 2 or 3 years, around plus minus. What would be a number to you? It's like, oh, I really like homeboy, but that's a lot. That's the same thing for you, Halima. You're on deck.
All right.
What's a lot?
I mean, it's gonna be a lot. I mean, 80 is still gonna be a lot.
80 is a
But if
lot.
you're feeling
Man,
them,
80 is the number, huh? Like, damn.
I'm just
Let's
saying, like,
find
if it's like 30,
Okay, let me
it's
ask.
still a
So
lot.
if it was 79, you'd be like, you know what, I'm cool. I'm good with it.
I'm with it. You're just right there. I
Yeah.
could be number 80. I could be your 80.
That's a round
80,
number. Yeah.
80 and done. 80 and done. No more
Yeah.
Are you
after that.
sure? You're gonna be my
Okay.
80th?
80? Okay. Okay.
As
Halima,
long
we
as
can-
we're committed, just no more after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I like
And
it.
as long as you're
I like it.
tested and clean, and no more after that.
At
80,
80, he probably got like 4 or 5 kids for sure.
E,
At
could
80.
you do the math on that? No, but could you do the math on that per year? So let's say he started maybe at around let's give him benefit of the doubt 18. Do the math on that. How many per year that is? But
So 12.
Halima, are we going over under 80?
Over.
Over.
Don't you say nothing
She
gross.
wants more.
It's like 80. That's a good year.
Like
Right.
80's high. I'm cool with a person that slept with 80.
So would like
But
would they
how do you
remember?
manage all, like, how do you remember all of that? Like, how do you
Oh, guys
like,
count.
when you're 30, how do you, like, 80? That's okay. We have to do the math now because I'm curious.
Okay. So
What is-
let's see. So 80.
Like if you're counting in your notepad, like you have her name, that's an issue.
That's like
Why do
12
you
a
have
year.
a
Almost
notepad
like
of their
12 a year.
names?
12 a
Oh
year.
no,
one
we're
a
just
month.
talking about body count. We're just talking about body count. We're not talking about just like we still talking and anything like that. We don't want to drill too deep into that because now that's real issues. But if you up front, if you be like let's say you're date 4,
Oh.
and you're like, okay, like listen, you want to share a number? And I was like, yeah, it's 80. Would we're gonna go with 80. Okay. And I don't know if y'all watched the first episode. It was definitely a much lower number than us guys were like. Us guys was like, "Ooh, that's a lot." Okay, anyways,
Yeah.
right? E? Right? Tell me
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You
share
guys are
that
at
in a
80.
minute
We're
here.
probably like 50 lower than that. Like,
No. Remember what I said when I broke it down? I was like, okay, let's see. They've been having sex for this many years and this and that. And I was like, yeah, 30 is too much.
yeah, 30 is way
Yeah.
too much.
30 is way too much. So
For me, for a guy, if for a girl standards, 80, I guess it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Now, Halima, you come through. You're not. You said 80. You're over 80.
No. Honestly, at that point, I don't know. I guess anything for me. I think 30 sounds.
Loud Daddy says whole graduation
graduation
class.
class.
Thanks, Loud
that
Daddy.
is. I think
Sorry,
too
Halima.
much is
Sorry, Halima,
over
go
50.
ahead.
Too much is over 50. But then again, I don't know.
Over 50.
That's a lot. I don't know.
That's hell.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's
That's a lot. If you really,
you got to be out there talking about, okay, I don't even care if you're a 1 or a dime. I just need it. It's like, nah. It's like, how many dimes did you really sleep with? And guys be lying. They'd be like, oh man, every guy I slept with was a dime. Do you guys rate guys the same way? Like by looks or by height or what's your guys', how do you scale them?
Yeah. I mean, by looks, personality. No.
So you give them a number, like I'll be like, okay, he's a 7. I only sleep with 7s. So now you got the look, the rating, and then his body count, right? Or does it even matter? Because you said 50, so it's just be like, man, this guy just slept with 50 dudes, and he's a 10 though, Because in the previous part we talked about, what if she was like an actress or something, and her body count was super high, but she was a 10? It's like, okay, from people who are watching, it's like, oh, hell no, it don't matter because she's rich, she got paper.
Yeah.
How do you guys see it? Yeah, how do you guys look at it?
Yeah, if he has paper, then that's nice,
And he doesn't matter about his body count. He's like, okay, cool.
I feel like
It should be like
it
the
should
reason
never really,
why.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's like if he's good looking and he has money, then obviously other people are gonna want him too. So it's like I would understand.
Halima went to go somewhere. She's trying to do the calculations on that body count. So Victoria, you were saying if dude is like a 9, like 8 or 9, and he's I think they call him high value men, right? So they're like, they call him high value men. They're like the height is on point. He's like 5'11", 6 foot over, right? and he's got his money right. He's got his own spot, no kids, like early 30s, gym, guy, and he's good with his fam, everything like that. But he's also, being that high value man, he's gotten in touch with a lot of other females, right? Let's say that count was actually, and he's around that age. Let's say man's is active. Let's say he's at around 9, like he's pushing 100. Okay. And then he's coming at you and he's really feeling you and you're really feeling him. And that number comes up. You're willing to give it a free pass because this guy's a handsome dude. And is that what we're...
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I like the guy, I see a future with this guy, and I see that he isn't gonna go out there and continue adding to these numbers, after me, that's where I could understand. But if I'm just gonna be another count to his list, then I wouldn't give any
the notch and a good old belt.
Yeah, I think our numbers was much smaller or much lower because we're more like, when it comes to sexuality and sensuality and everything, I think we're more visual. That's why a lot of guys watch porn and everything like that, and they get their rocks off that way. But I don't know. I don't even know any websites like that. But once we hear a number, we start kind of attaching it to, like, that guy was up in it, that guy, and then we start visualizing that type of stuff, right? And I think for women, it's once they are feeling that comfort and that sensuality and that that trust there, right? Especially in that connection, then it's okay. It's a little bit more passive. You feel that way, E?
Yeah, I don't know, but like well, yeah, kind of, because I get hella picky. I don't want somebody that's really out there like that. I mean, that's probably the reason why body counts wouldn't really matter, right?
Putting up Kobe numbers.
No, not putting up Kobe numbers. That would be enough. I was like, no, yeah, because I just think for me, it's more of the quality, right? If she's been with so many people, I'm just not attracted to that. I mean, for a guy, we just be like, oh, okay, she's, I don't want to call him out like that, but he's like, oh, she's a sleazy one. We don't want to mess with those. But it's okay for a guy to have a high body count. And that's what I'm trying to, like, kind of come to my senses right now. You said for you girls, for a guy, your count 80 is cool. I was like, man, 80 is a lot. And we were talking about me and Rheimmond.
I'm still kind of blown away by that.
I'm just saying,
ours
like,
is like really, really low.
I think it should be okay for girls and guys. Like, girls should be able to have a high body count.
I guess we have to accept it, right? For me, if a girl has a high body count, it's okay.
I feel like it should be like the intention of the relationship or what we want from this. Like, why does it matter what the body count was? It's like, at this point in my life, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to have a family, but like, that was my intention. And now, like, it shouldn't matter. Like, before, that was my partying days or whatever it is. And I was trying to find love, and every guy F me over. That's maybe, true. So I feel like it should be the intention of everything's all about intent. So
man, maybe men are shallow.
I agree. Yeah,
maybe we're shallow. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're just like, we're living in this world, we're thinking,
maybe we're shallow. There's definitely, well, I mean, shallowness exists in an individuality and not just in just the whole thing. I don't think I'm shallow. I'm well under 80.
We just want quality of women. We don't want nobody sleeping with our women.
My wife is right there, and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm well under 80.
Me too.
Me too. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna be curious. I'm not gonna be
maybe like, 70.
Oh.
If you had a choice, though, of an experienced man versus a man that's just fairly inexperienced, where does that go? Are you like, yeah, I got this guy?
I was just thinking that too. It's like,
yeah, really I was like, yeah. So there's this guy that is, let's say, both around the same age. one guy, still, fairly attractive dude, got his stuff right, but isn't as experienced as this other dude who's, pretty much got his stuff right and everything like that. They're about the same type of guy as far as, just looks and got the stuff going on for themselves. But one dude is just a lot more experienced than the other. Where do you lean with that?
I go towards the inexperienced guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. Mm-hmm.
Inexperienced or inexperienced?
Yeah.
What?
Inexperienced.
Oh,
Inexperienced. Okay, let's unpack that. What's why with the unexperienced guy?
Because at that point I could win at something. Because at least I'm good there.
Mm-hmm.
Win.
that's how you girls
Like,
be thinking.
You arm wrestling in bed? What you doing? Leg wrestling?
I don't know. I thought I got you girls all figured out, but no, I guess I don't.
What is win?
They got
Do you
trophies.
get what I'm saying?
All right, DJ Khaled. Win. Okay, hold on. I really want to figure this.
Oh, fucking so lost, y'all.
Okay.
I'm like, what?
So
What?
we're talking about that. Okay. All right.
So he
yeah,
can like
at least
he
you could
can,
win
like-
at something, right?
so he can like open the door for me, pay for the bills and stuff. But
He can still do that.
I
with
got you here. I got you here.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh,
Oh,
you
yeah,
trying
you
to
know
take
how to
care
do
of you,
this
man.
well.
I was
You
like, I'm
bet
gonna take care of you.
250, but I'm bet. Yeah. Oh, okay. Halima,
Yes.
what you got? She said she want to win.
For me,
you want to win?
I would,
Oh, Lord.
I would want the inexperienced because we can get experience together. Like,
Mhm.
like we can unpack everything, because we're
Mhm.
learning together. So
Mhm.
I think that's a good one.
But I would pose this question. So if, let's say, I'm saying inexperienced as far as like you're much more experienced. It's like this person, let's say, had like a below 10 body count, and you're,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm not gonna put anything on your experience or anything like that. But I'm just saying in general. Let's say there's a general number out there, and they were like way below that number. There's this thought to where it's like once you start getting together and you go that way, it's like maybe that inexperience actually goes against them. To where it's like he's not really doing things the right way, or if he's like not approaching it the right way, he could be at that point then starting to feel a lot more self-conscious about himself because you winning in that area. So do you could
But
that
you can
end up
guide
being
them.
the fault?
Yeah.
Oh, you broke up there real quick. You said you can guide them.
You can guide them, be his teacher or whatever, like you guys are, like I said, you guys are learning together then at that point.
What
I mean,
if, like,
yeah.
Yeah, but so what if like he doesn't like it and he just feels some type of way? He's like, oh man, I just miserable at this. She has to teach me everything.
Yeah.
And then he gets in his head, is like, oh man, is she gonna cheat on me?
Damn, you just following a path that is like the wrong path, bro.
No, that's what happened. I'm just saying.
But when you say
some guys be thinking like that, and they're like, man, I'm not good enough to satisfy my woman out. It's like,
yeah, I mean
is it okay?
That's a personal problem on his end.
Yeah, it's like, would you give her that person the green light? Say, all right, babe, go ahead. I love you that much. I love you that much. You go ahead, sleep.
That would give him some insecurities, right? But Halima, when you're saying it's like you guys can learn together, what if you're the teacher? You ain't learning together. You're teaching all the time, and you're like, walking them through. You're doing walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so here's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
In this particular type of
PowerPoint
positioning. It's like, see, here's me. Here's you. Here's how you're not supposed to be. That's too much. Okay, so she left.
She's opening her PowerPoint.
Stop.
So
stop moaning. I didn't tell you to
that?
moan yet.
Do you agree with that? It's like as far as like learning, are you no? Well, would you play that role of talking them through it, or are you not that kind of woman? Because some women are like, I can't, like, I don't want to tell him what to do.
She's coaching because she's trying to win. Remember, she's like, I'm coaching.
Here's the thing with me. I'm a Virgo, so I like to be right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to be like,
Virgo. My girl's a Virgo.
So you want to
be I know A, B, and C.
So you would then be like, hey, you got to do it this way, okay? It's like you would walk them through. You would be a lot more vocal.
Yeah.
Like
if
do
you
you
do
want
this,
to play
this,
that
and this.
role? Like I mean, that's the thing, and it goes back to like, do you want a more experienced man to where he already knows, he's already there? But you said you want to win at something. It's like, okay, that's cool. And is that is that a thing to where it's like, I think it's cool for like the first few times, and if if the learning curve isn't, if he's not really catching up to the learning curve, he's gonna be sitting on the learning curb.
I mean, well, yeah.
That's such a dad joke. That's so weird.
That was.
I thought that was more of a bar.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
80. Fellas,
So-
ladies who's listening out there, man, chime in. Let us know what y'all think
let us
about
know.
the whole thing.
Let us know if I mean, we'd love some engagement around that. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So I mean, it's so for you, E. I mean, would you experience over inexperience, E? Let's just kind of chime in on this because we actually haven't.
Yeah, we haven't really answered
had
it.
this
No,
conversation.
yeah. Shit, I don't know.
Experience
I think
versus inexperience.
experience for sure. I think I'm more about the whole experience thing. You got to really know what you're doing, because if you don't, I'm not even gonna try to put. Well, I'll put myself out there like that. Like if it's shit's whack, then there's. I mean, I don't know if I could love you enough to
Careful.
to guide you, to guide you. You're gonna have to. I mean, I love you a lot, but that's something that you might have to learn on your own time. Like, okay, like
let's
the
revisit.
first time was cool. Yeah, let's revisit this later. Okay, it's not, our relationship doesn't need to be based around this.
Yeah,
So, like, check
totally
out
fine.
Rheimmond's links first, and then come back to me.
Hold on, what? Okay, you're getting hot and bothered, and then it's like, hold on, and then you have this memory of the last time. You're like, hold on, let's revisit this next month because
A month. Oh.
Yeah,
So
they taking tests
you're
over there.
more you said experience, right? Or
Yeah, it
which
got
one
to
did
be
you say?
experience for me.
That'd be experience. Yeah, I think I would have to lean experience. I would have to lean experience mainly, and that's interesting as far as like the difference here. Mainly
Yeah.
because I would actually question. I mean, I'm 46, so if you're inexperienced at 46, I'm gonna really have questions about like what'd you go through? What's your trauma? And
I just don't
like
have
how
sex. I just don't.
how
do
would
it.
how would I approach you at that point? It's like, and
she could
and
be a
you're
virgin, got married, and then just started.
She could have had been in a coma when she was 20, and
Oh.
she woke up
Coma?
at 46.
that makes it
Not
worse.
a coma.
You're
Not
sitting
a
there like
coma
taking
at
advantage.
20,
I
waking
mean,
up
that would
26
that would
later.
actually,
Damn,
That would
26 years
explain
later.
a lot.
you know
Yeah.
what? That's crazy.
Her body
But,
counts 4.
Yeah, no, I would definitely, in all seriousness, I have the questions like, what's wrong with you? Like, I would,
What's
like, that's
wrong
the
with
thing.
you?
Like, what's wrong with you to where, I mean, if they're good looking enough, right? If they're good looking and I'm definitely like attracted to them, there's nothing wrong with them physically and, mentally, and like they got their stuff right. There's got to be something there to where it's like, why are you not getting with the cats? It's like, why you got such a super low body count? Why are guys not finishing?
Yeah, maybe they picky.
Maybe she's picky. Maybe she's picky.
Or maybe someone did her so wrong, she was like, fuck it, guys.
Yeah,
And
she
then-
swore him off for a minute, right?
And then
Okay.
you just turn around and then try to date the opposite sex, or will you just like give up completely? Like,
Well,
okay,
that's too, though.
because you're looking for love, right? In the end of the day, you're looking for love, right? It doesn't really got to be that, but say that plays a major part, Like, do you
maybe
really
they just
turn to that?
don't. Maybe they don't have sex unless they know that they're in love. Or they see that future. Like it's not something they just do because it's a physical act.
Yeah.
So does
Yeah,
love
so-
even matter anymore? Speaking about that, like if you're trying to be in a relationship with somebody, right, and that feeling has to be there, or you wouldn't be with that person, or like, or if you're trying to meet somebody for the first time, say you're going out to the clubs or whatever, you meet somebody and you're like, okay, I'm gonna decide, like, hey, do I do it or do I not? Like, where do you guys go? How do you guys feel? Or how do you guys come to a decision saying like, okay, this is gonna be okay. I'm gonna meet this guy. I haven't whatever in a long time. It's a go. Have you guys have been in a situation like that before, where you just meet somebody, like, okay, I'm gonna get down with this person?
I'm gonna take that as a no.
No, that's good. We'll see the no. There's nothing.
I think there's I'm gonna take that as a no.
Like, no, never
Let's
did
move
that.
on from this. Let's move on from this. I think we've kind of just like dove into that towards like so I'm actually interested in that result to where it's like, it's the inexperience versus E and I was like experience. And I think, that's very interesting. I'm gonna have to kind of hash that out on the sidelines here. Okay, cool. As far as one thing going into this whole thing, I was and Halima, I want to actually be sensitive to your time. Are you still okay? I'm looking at 60. Okay, you're good. So now, Halima, you're fairly new to social media presence, right? Being out there, putting yourself out there.
Yes.
Okay. Victoria, you've been out there for a minute. Like, you've been doing this, I mean, I've seen some of your content. You were like a youngin' back then. So you've been doing this for a while. How I know, like, I think what's her name? A actually, if you guys don't know who she goes by A Bebe. She was on the Next Top Chef, or I think that's what it's called, right?
Next Level
Or
Chef.
Next Level Chef. Okay, she's dope. You guys got to check her out. She goes about at AEBABY or BABAYY or something like that. But she's out there. She's very out there, and she just does a lot of little tips and talks about just food, and just she talks about her content and just gives her opinions out there and everything like that. But then she had posted not too long ago as far as like being a woman in in social media, putting yourself out there. You do get a lot of people coming at you, sideways. Sometimes from the guys, and you got a lot of haters as far as from the women. What's your experience in that on your end, Victoria? Is that, I mean, your content doesn't really yield a lot of that, I would imagine, or have you experienced that at all?
Yeah, so I would say my content compared to A is very
different.
Vanilla compared to hers.
A's wild.
Yeah, A is like, she says it as it is. For me, I kind of I'm careful about what I say, just because I know that a lot of kids watch my content, a lot of family, like it's like pretty family friendly, because I do a lot of sketches. But there are people who would comment and be like, "You're a whore."
Whoa.
So I'm just like,
that's crazy.
I'm just doing a skit about being my mom as a farmer. So I don't know what you're saying about my mom being a farmer, picking eggplants. Like, I don't know what you got against that. But they're just, people want to knock you down, and it's
Picking
like,
eggplants.
you have to you gotta have tough skin.
Social media is tough, man. They got what do you call them? They call them trolls. They got people out there that just does that for a living, just trolls on everything. You see them on your comments and be like, okay, great. And
they just hate to
you
hate.
deal with that stuff a lot then, huh?
Yeah.
Like people just trolling all the time.
Yeah,
that's kind of like where the direction of that thing is. I mean, when you start and make that decision to be a presence out there, and you're putting yourself out there, you're sitting there, it's like you're trying to figure out, what type of clip am I going to put out, or like, even if in the longer content type of thing, you're literally putting yourself out there as an individual. Now you got these trolls, you got these these haters and everything like that, and of course you got a lot of people that are commenting just to love what you're doing and everything like that. That's what I'm trying to see, what you're seeing as far as your content's concerned, and also what keeps driving it to get past all that. Just because I'm pretty sure it exists. I mean, I've had it sometimes. I've had it actually a couple times. I don't know if So I was like, what bro, you
we just don't know what's going on. Just social media presence is different compared to real life presence, depending on who the individual is, for sure.
Yeah.
Has any of your other Sotmagok mates like experienced stuff like that as far as content creators? You guys kind of swap?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's so many people hating, and especially on the internet, because they're not upfront. They could just hide behind the computer screen. It's just like, it's easy for them to say whatever they want and not care about you being a human being. Because
No, not at all.
they just like they have shit going on with their life that they can't deal with, and so they want to direct it at somebody else.
That's
And
crazy.
that's how I take it. Like
Yeah.
they can't deal with their shit, so that's why they're taking it out on you. I mean, it's unfair, but if you see it that way, it's just like it really doesn't matter.
Have you had anything? I mean, I know your channel or your IG and your presence out there in content creation right now, Halima, is still fairly new. I would think. Have
really good.
Have you seen any of that? Have you experienced any of that? Hopefully not.
No, not yet. I hope.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. I guess it all depends on the market, right? What you're putting out there as far as your content goes.
Yeah. But so the other side of things, being a content creator is just basically you're looking to yield as much attention as you can. How are you with the phone at night? How are you with the phone after you post a video? It's like, are you always checking if people liking you, like you get them likes? Is there an addiction to that? Are you being drawn more to your phone? And you get way more likes than we do, Victoria. Can you, like, what's that like?
Oh yeah, it's like a drug. You just keep
Damn,
seeing it go up.
I figured that much. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. And then once it starts slowing down, I'm like, oh dang, I need another hit. I need to get another video that's going to get more likes and comments. And
Yeah.
it is a cycle, but I'm pretty good about it in my life where if I'm in the moment with my family and friends, my phone is down. Which is kind of bad for me as a content creator because I'm not creating anything. That's why there's inconsistency in my posting because I don't post because I'm just living my life, and then when I have an idea, then I post. Which I don't know, it's hard.
So this is just a part-time thing for you, right? You're content creating, or you have like a full-time 9 to 5, and then you do this also.
I would love for content creating to be my thing, but right now I'm serving. I work at 2 jobs. I serve at 2 jobs.
Okay.
And then I also go to school. So it's just like a lot on my plate.
Yeah,
and then I just started a new organization called Southeast Collective. And so we're putting on a night market. We're trying to do a monthly night market too.
Oh wow.
So there's a lot of things on my mind, which is why I can't be a full-time creator because I just don't put all my focus on it. And this is where this is my thing, is where I split up my time horribly. So
is that still, do you still have that passion for that, or is it kind of, does it dissipate to where it's like, yeah, you know what, I think I'm gonna just move on, I think I've done my stuff here in this space? Or is there still a passion for that, for you to keep putting some stuff out there?
There's always a passion for me to do it, because if you don't know my background, I come from I used to be in a nonprofit for about 12 years, and it was for the Lao American community.
Okay.
But I saw that everything that I post, it didn't matter because, only 2 or 3 people liked it because they're like my friends or family, right? And so I was like, I need to build a platform. And so I created that One Lao Girl to be a platform for like all these programs to be seen by people in the Fresno community. And then it grew beyond that. So I've always had a passion to represent my community in some way. And creating a platform for people to come and see the services that are provided by, different nonprofits and businesses and stuff. That's just gonna always be who I am. Like, I always want to uplift people.
So that led to,
that's awesome.
That led to, and Jimmy Loud Daddy had mentioned to us like that you were the one that gathered everybody together for Summer Magog.
Yeah.
Is that truth there? Or is he just whopping it up? You really, you put those fools together.
It's true, because I don't know. It was during the pandemic, and I love bringing people together to create stuff. And every time I see people doing stuff and I like it, I always make it a point that I'm just like telling them that their content is good and for them to keep doing it. And so like I became really good friends with everybody that I kept doing that to. And then so we all came together and started working together.
Wow. And it's what you said, 75K. And that's just all, just content creators with the same passion. I was having this conversation literally today that, and this is to Halima. I was having this conversation today, and it kind of is along the same lines. Hold on. Let's Jimmy Loud Daddy said it was him though.
I edit his
Nah, that's
videos
on
for
me,
him
G.
sometimes.
But so Halima, I was talking to an actual, like, he was a realtor, he's a broker and everything like that, and he was like, I wish, and he said, I think differently, like I have this thing to where it's like, if we're all representing the same community, why can't we all just, excuse me, if we're all the same nationality, same community that we're trying to serve to, why can't we all just work together and have some sort of a collective and something like that, right? Do you feel that? I mean, I know you're pretty early into the game, but then coming, I know, like you and I know, like dozens and dozens on dozens of our friends are real estate agents or
Mhm.
in the real estate
Like,
market.
a
And
lot
they're all,
of them
oh,
are, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Would you see opportunity like a collective like that coming together, or is it still more competitive slash crabs in a bucket type of a mentality in that market?
I see both. Like my community, we all collaborate together. We're all solo agents, but we all like chip in and we all like help each other out. Like we have like a
Mm-hmm.
Facebook group and we're always collaborating. So I think that's why I joined that community of realtors. And they've, there's some that's been in the game for 20 plus years and they're all doing this like for free to help everybody else out. And so
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many crabs in a bucket, like realtors out there. So I think it can be both. I'm in a community where we're all collaborating, we're all helping each other out, and we're all like uplifting each other. Like if someone needed, a lender or someone needed a contractor,
Mm-hmm.
someone's always putting information out there, and we're all getting help either way. So I feel like to do it in like like Southeast Asian space or or
Mm-hmm.
certain break culture space, that would be
Mm-hmm.
great. That's something I would love to do one day.
What I've noticed is that, you know, there was a push like within a few years ago, or I don't know if it's, yeah, it was a few years ago, to where there definitely was just the more tenured real estate brokers, or just the very very successful ones. They're like, well, you guys need to take advantage of the social media market. I mean, it's
Yeah.
free and tap in. And so that then spawned so many real estate agents slash content creators, and there's some really good content, and I started seeing this, like, I mean, they're out there, and I was like, wow, now you guys are real content creators. That's also what I was actually kind of alluding to where it's like, is there something there to where it's like these real estate agents creating dope content all work together
Mhm.
and shit and reap the benefits of that, because you are still tapping in. I mean,
Mhm.
if I sat there and I went to an IG group or something like that that had like 100, let's say 100,000 followers and everything, and it was an IG group of a collective of maybe like 10 to 20 dope content, real estate content creators, you would still be attracted to, or you still want to work with a specific one, right? There would still be a preference there, but
Yeah.
still I was drawn to that particular collective. So that was one of the things that I was thinking. I've had this conversation at least 3 times. One with a lady friend that I knew from back in the days. She mentioned that because she wanted to come on the show, and I was like, well, if I bring you to the show, I, I'm gonna have a bunch of the other homies or a bunch of the other friends. Was like, why am I not on your show? And why'd you choose this person? Because they're all in the same space. I'd love
Mhm.
to have like a panel of like, okay, y'all are all real estate agents, dope content creators. Let's talk about that particular space. So that's why I brought it, and that's why I'm thinking, like, with the collective that you had started up, Victoria. I've seen a lot of other groups that are actually doing that now. It's actually booming as a space. I seen a Hmong collective, like a lot of Filipinos in their zip codes and everything like that. They're coming together on that. So I think that's the next step,
That's
right?
a new wave right there. A bunch of just a new
Individualism to groups,
group of collectives.
to
Yeah.
collectives.
Mhm.
And that doesn't, I don't,
That'd be
do you feel
great.
that hurts the space to where it's like, individual space, or you don't have a problem actually sharing the space with others, right?
No, I don't have a
No,
yeah at all.
Okay.
I always feel like the same with, because there's so many nonprofit groups.
Mm-hmm.
When I was doing the LECF, and there's so many
Mm-hmm.
other loud nonprofit groups, it was just like we all have the same goal, which is to, you know, bring up the community,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but we all have different ways about doing it. So why do we have to merge and do it your way when your way works and my way works too? But we still have the same goal where we uplift the community.
How does that expand beyond? Because there's a huge Lao community over here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, huge, and I know Cali has a huge one. I think Cali's got the biggest one. Is there anything holding the Lao community back from working to develop a much bigger connection to the neighboring communities? Or is it more, let's strengthen the Lao, let's strengthen the Fresno community, or let's strengthen the Dallas Fort Worth community before we start thinking about expanding?
I mean, I think there's a lot of work to be done in every region. And there is like a big major cause, like even with the Bidey Fest, I think that's huge, right? Where everybody could come together and do it. But when you break it down to different cities, something that I'm working on in Fresno cannot be the same thing that you're working on in Texas, right? Or it could be. I mean, there's underlying issues that are within your region that needs to be fixed and worked on. And then there's also the bigger dream, the bigger project. I think you could do both.
Sabadi Fest is definitely helping, but even that particular festival itself, I mean, you're still gonna have, as exists and everywhere else, you're still gonna have a lot of people knocking it. It's just bad mouthing it so poorly in certain ways. But I think they're doing, I mean, right now with their expansion, and with their expansion with just the whole Southeast Asian, they even invited some Filipino singer. I think who is Passion? What's his name?
Paris.
Paris. Who was Paris?
Yep.
He's actually, and I think that's going to end up. That's why I was pretty excited when they started doing their travels as far as going to Fort Worth. I think they were in Minneapolis, and I thought, I was like, wow, this is a crazy movement. There's a crazy movement of just putting the actual culture out there on tour. And they literally brought over some folks from Laos, and there were some Thai performers on their coin, and they moved them around the country. And I thought that that actually brought a lot of people together, even though there were some there's some hate along the way, just because they just didn't really understand what this was. I thought that was very helpful. I think it's as far as the Filipino community over here in Dallas Fort Worth, I think there's still a little bit of work to do. There's groups that are actually pushing it. We're actually going to have our first Filipino night in the Dallas game, in Dallas versus Houston game in April, and with that in itself, a lot of the proceeds are actually going to go towards the Filipino Community Center that they're trying to build in Dallas right now. So I think there is still definitely a movement. Paris played you in his what? I'm not sure what. Can we translate this for Mr. Loudon?
He said it was the wrong Paris. It wasn't a wrong person. It's not Paris. I think that's what he meant.
So I do want to take a little bit of time. I know we're bumping into like about around the time when we start kind of like rounding down. You got a little giveaway to do.
Oh yeah, I got a little giveaway to do.
You got a little giveaway to do. So if you tuned in the past couple weeks, the first week we kind of had a fail on the giveaway just because we weren't very clear as far as how to enter. But last week it was, if you and I caught some of this on IG, and I also caught all of it that came through on YouTube. If you had typed in raffle, you were automatically put in. And this is what, as much as I could from last week, as far as what I gathered. He's got the list. Remind him what you're giving away, Mr. Judah.
So what I'm giving away today is my own apparel. So I do Creative Soul apparel for anybody who's watching and didn't know what I did or what that is. It's a brand I started about 12 years ago that I'm revamping. And I recently did a pop-up, I can't even remember, I think in October, which actually got me back into the game of doing streetwear and fashion apparel and stuff like that. So I'm giving the t-shirts I made for that pop-up, and I'm about to do it right now. Got everybody here on a raffle or a little wheel. So let's go ahead and do this. You can hear this real quick. Oh, let's see. So the winner is Cam.
Cam A. Congratulations, Cam A. We'll get your information. We'll get your information after the after show. I'll get that for you, E. I know exactly
Yeah. Hey
who that
man, at least
person is.
hey, that's all you, man.
I'll get you the
Congratulations.
information. Yeah, and
Congratulations, Cam.
keep tuning in. We still got, we're just kind of controlling ourselves as far as what to put out there. We still got some more stuff out there for you. So yeah, congratulations, Cam. We'll get that stuff for you. We'll get that out to you. Ladies, I mentioned before the show, it's like if you had something to bring to the table, I know I didn't want to just skip over that. If you have something to ask us, if you have a topic that you come up with, or you guys kind of like a little burnt out, be like, man, these guys are talking about body counts for a little bit.
We were.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, you guys said you're in your mid 40s, right?
Nah.
What would you say is like? How would you say it was like growing up? Did you try to assimilate into the American culture?
I'm sorry?
I mean, were you guys trying to assimilate into the culture more, or were you guys very strongly protective of your culture?
My Filipino background, my culture, like tap into that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like when you were growing up, it's like when you was a youngin and your history through that, especially in Seattle area during that, it was growing up back then. I'm gonna share mine real quick, and then I'm gonna let you run, Eve. Just because when I came to the U.S., I immigrated here with my grandparents. So my parents, I was born in the Philippines, and I was there. My grandma felt that my mom was a little overloaded, and she wanted to go ahead and get me up there and get me going with school, and then like they would follow. So in order for that to happen, to immigrate properly, because in the Philippines you have to get petitioned and you have to wait like a few years, like years. There's no raffle. It's just you need to get petitioned over. So in order for her to bring me over, I was 6 years old, and she actually had to adopt me. I had her last name, got here to the U.S., and her own way of having me belong and assimilate was basically she had the entire encyclopedia set. I was 6 years old, and that's all that really was there for me to actually to learn English. I had to sit there and learn as much as I can with English. I watched like John Wayne, and I learned English from John Wayne, Pat Sajak, and Alex Trebek, and Bob Barker, right? And that's why I still got crazy love for the Sonics, just because that's all the sports that I knew about back then. The Sonics. I didn't watch football. I watched the Sonics. So with your question, it's like, did you assimilate as much as you can with the culture, or did you try to keep your own culture within you? It was more about trying to assimilate, just so I wasn't made fun of, or I wasn't looked at funny. I mean, it was a rush to understand it and to fit in, and that's exactly how it was up to, I think, around 5th grade, until things just started trending towards that the music started changing to rap, gangster rap. The culture started changing, and it was no longer a culture. It was developing its own culture. And by the time I got to high school, it was gangs.
Yeah.
That was all that was going on in Seattle. It was either gangs if you were down, or if you weren't down, and you had to kind of just try to stay away as possible. And I got caught up in that. So that's basically, that was my track. It was like immigration to trying to fit in, trying to enunciate as best as I can so I wouldn't get made fun of. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I got that, I was a 4.0 student in middle school. Hit high school, and that was it. It was gangland. And so that was my upbringing. So yeah, to answer your question, there really wasn't a lot of like true, like really trying to preserve my culture and my heritage, because that existed at home. That was secondary. That already happened. I was just trying to assimilate with the culture in the US. And as it went, right? Is that the same for you, E?
Well, kind of. I don't know. It might be a little bit different because I came in. I was only 3 months, so I could remember going up, speaking a little bit of my own language, but not enough to really be put in a class of what is it called, ESL. So I was kind of like writing it the whole way. Like you said, the music was changing, the way that people dressed was changing, the way just people talked in general was changing. So I was able just to ride that wave. So I don't know. Was I trying to fit in, or it just kind of just happened naturally? Could have just said like I'm naturally born here or whatever. Because at 3 months I really didn't know anything else.
Was there, so to kind of piggyback on Victoria's question, did you feel that there was a need or a want for you to preserve your personal culture, your connection to your culture?
No, I felt like it was always there, like you, because that's at home for me. Like they don't talk English when we go home; it's all Tagalog and stuff like that. And they still carried the old way of living from when they were in the
Yeah.
Philippines, like hard work, cook, clean, and that's it. Take care of the kids when they got time. We were on our own. I think that was probably the only thing that was different compared to like my other classmates and stuff like that who had their parents there full time, and then they come home at 5, they have dinner. We never had dinner. Stuff was just ready on the table and eat whenever you get time to eat, kind of stuff. We weren't raised any different. But there was a point where I did want to know more about my culture, my history, and stuff like that, because I was influenced by my older cousin who did Pinoy teach, which was kind of good because without him, I wouldn't have known anything that was like going on, not even today or even in our past. I'm still very interested in my own culture for sure. Hmm. I think being Filipino, you just have that natural pride. Like, hey, man, I'm Filipino. I want to be down.
Is there? Oh, go ahead, Alima, please.
At what age did you feel like you want to get tapped more into your culture?
I think I was around high school. Because before that, because dealing with like when Rheimmond, I don't know, I don't want to call his age out, but when he was in high school, I was in middle
46.
school, and all that shit was happening, right? All the gang shit was happening and stuff like that, and I just didn't know any better, and that was very consuming of your whole living because you got to really watch your back and stuff like that. Wherever you go, you got to watch who you talk to, and then you come home and just totally different. It's where you find your peace, and I think when I just got over all that bullshit was in high school, kind of. And that's where I wanted to tap in.
Yeah. There was always that dotted line connection, as much as you're going out experiencing, right, and assimilating and everything like that. There's always that dotted line to where it always pulled you back in because there is the community, like especially in Seattle. That's always, and I think Cali's a big starter of this also. But in Seattle itself, the community there is like they got the community center. There's always something going on, and if you didn't go to the community centers, you had aunties and the grandmas are there, the uncles, and there's always a way they all gather, and that always expands back. And then of course, the churches, like every single weekend is everybody still gets together, so you still have that connection. It wasn't always,
Yeah.
so there was still that dotted line to it, so you didn't really lose it. You just so one thing I did wish I preserved throughout all those years, I wish I could still speak very fluent English, very fluent Tagalog, because I
Yeah.
definitely lost that, and I wish I could teach that to my kids because I can barely.
For me, I feel like that's like a Filipino thing. I don't know how you guys feel being, what you guys' culture and stuff like that. Because I've noticed like a lot of my Vietnamese homies or a lot of my, Cambodian or Lao homies, my age, they know how to speak the language. But a lot of Filipinos that I hang out with is like, do you guys even talk?
Yeah.
Or do you even understand? That's the thing that goes through my mind hanging out with my Filipino homies. Like, I feel like we don't carry that. It's like we didn't try to bother to learn our own language. And so now we're just English speaking, but we could fully understand it.
Yeah, a lot of your content, Victoria, is like that, right? Like a lot of your content, if not majority of your content, is you're speaking in Lao.
Yeah, I try to push. Well, there's a thing that I do where when I play my mom as a character a lot, and I try not to make it a point where her accent is gonna be the punchline. So that's why I try to speak Lao so that the accent is never the punchline.
I
But
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
but my language, like I don't really speak that much Lao, or I do, but I'm not very fluent, but I practice it a lot, and I feel like if I include it more into the sketches and then I, add in some subtitles, and when people take in this media, it just becomes familiar with them. And then so they might want to speak the language, or like, it might start a question, like a conversation. But what's really funny is that like I'm turning 32, so me growing up, like being Lao wasn't cool, It was actually like, because I grew up on like YouTube, so like being Filipino was cool, because you have like AJ Raphael, Passion, all the musicians and stuff. So that's why you know what I mean though. Like I grew up on that YouTube era, so it was just like all Filipinos. It was Filipino entertainment. On YouTube.
Especially down there in Northern Cali, like near the Bay.
Like, so I'm like in the Bay, there was a huge like there was this. They said we're just gonna get together. We're all just gonna get together and just go but then that was also during the time when like Niga Higa and them guys were up and Tim Chadaronsu. That's why I wanted to meet. That's one of the main people that if I went to Sobriety Fest, I was like, I'd go straight for Tim, because Tim's OG. So but then like you're right, it's just there's like a huge presence of Filipinos down there also. As much as there's Laos down there, that Lao people down there, there's a huge presence of Filipinos down in the Cali area, San Diego Bay, and everything like that. So I can see what you're saying. So was that like more just an influence towards like, maybe I should start acting like these fools, or I can just should be down with more.
even my sketch comedy is very heavily influenced by I don't know if you know her, but Happy Slip.
Yeah, Happy Slip.
Yeah, I watched Happy Slip a lot.
She's
Slip.
funny. She's one of the OG actual content creators that did Filipino comedy. I think she's dope. Is that right?
I was very influenced with her. That's why if you do go back to my videos, you'll see like it is kind of a mirror of like her kind of comedy too. Whereas is in all good fun, is funny. You talk about your parents, your upbringing, but it's like it's in good fun. It's nothing about to like bash us or anything like that.
No. I mean, that's how a lot of these, like especially like with like how Joe Coy is. Joe Coy's huge now, but then his comedy was based on the foundation was him talk about his moms. And there's not, and for us as Filipinos, we sat there, we can relate. Although my mom hates it, but she sit there and she's like, "Oh, he costume, that's not how I treat you." But she's sitting there crying, like cracking up because this guy's acting up. But it's like, that's not me, but that's funny as fuck.
It's like
they don't know how to react to it, right? Are there
that's my mom with my videos. She's
with
like,
your
why
videos?
do you, she's like, why are you always dressed up like you're going to the farm and like why do you do this? It's like, it's not, you should not speak in a southern accent. You should speak more like a northern dialect.
Oh, is
like,
that right?
Like the city folks in Laos, so that you could be more popular. I'm like, you're still laughing at the video, Mom. And she just goes and shows all her friends my videos too. Like she shits on it, but then she still supports me.
Yeah, I mean, typical Asian parent though, right? They just want to be super hard on you all the time for no reason.
Like, look what she's doing now, and then they're cracking up and they get a kick out. Do you? So I think I asked this to Jimmy. I was like, do you get like some pushback from with the content? Do you have to get some pushback from the community? Be like, why is she? Is she kind of ridiculing us or anything like that, or why is she making? Some people take it differently.
Just sensitive to the topic or to the content.
Sensitive to like how they're being portrayed.
I think there was one video that there was some pushback where I was talking about, some Lao people, they don't know the words to something, so they just say it with an English accent. They say it with a Lao accent, and then it becomes like the Lao word. So like the word for pin is bik, and it's the brand name Bic.
Yeah. Oh.
And then like for pads, there's obviously a Lao name, but we always call it Kotek because of Kotex.
Kotex. Oh, yeah. It's like that. Like there's some, your refrigerator in the Philippines, they call it, that's the Frigidaire.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's an actual, like,
that's not a word.
The Frigidaire is a brand, but then it's always been like, it's
right.
the brand. It's like Kotek and Big. So it's like, that's weird.
So there's people that are like laughing about it.
Oh.
There's people that laugh about it, but then there's some people that are like, oh yeah, you're making fun of us. Like, just because, like sometimes we borrow words and that's just how language works. I'm like, I'm not really making fun of it. I'm just thinking, it's just fun to poke fun at stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's like
Yeah.
you grow up thinking your whole life that you're speaking Lao, but it's just name brands in a Lao accent.
Is there a like, okay, let me ask you, okay, first let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you one question and then I'm gonna lead it to the other. And I've asked this to a lot of my Lao friends. I've got a big Lao community over here and a lot of Lao friends. Who is the most famous Lao person you know? Like a full-on Lao person, not mixed. Who is the most famous Lao person you know?
A.
No, no, like who? No, okay. Here, let me change it. Who is the most famous Lao person in the U.S. like ever?
Or
That's the
just
most
ever.
known. I
Um,
can point to Manny. I can point to I can point to Joe Coy
I
right
would
now.
say A.
Is A putting it
I
down?
feel like A is putting it down for us
I mean,
because
Mr.
he was
Harris is
on.
getting up there.
Yeah, but
Mr.
A was
Harris is the
on TV
is A
with
really the
Gordon
most
Ramsay.
famous Lao person in the
At, at
U.S.?
this at this
That's
time,
it.
at this time,
There has to be
Hmm.
like there's no athlete or actor,
I would
American
say
Lao American actor. Is there any? There has to be.
right now, KP is coming up. He was just in Brother's Son.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
He's
he's
mean,
Lao?
Lao?
not coming up, but
Oh.
he's
No,
been
he's
in
been out.
movies for a while. So there's KP, Andre Sukumat,
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
Sukumpat, Jimmy Lao Daddy. Even though he
Jimmy Lao
posts
Daddies.
once,
Yeah,
he posts once every 3 months.
ooh, you ain't lying. I was like, where's this video at? No, but so as far as like has a Lao artist crossed over to the mainstream as far as music? Is there
The only person that so see, I can't even think of her name right now, but I know that there's a Lao girl who's in Naked and Famous.
is Brenda Full?
No,
Brenda Song?
Brenda Song is Hmong.
She's
She's
Hmong.
Hmong half Thai.
Okay.
So is that like
Yeah.
Hmong's like more Chinese?
Northern, like
Hmong is
northern.
a ethnic group. So
Yeah, they don't have their own land.
they have a
Ah,
there's a lot in Vietnam and Laos, Thailand. There's a big community in China too.
yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I don't know, maybe Dana Mar is kind of coming up. I mean, he did have green tea and honey, and everybody thought he was Filipino, but he was Lao.
Mm. We'll claim them if they think that. We'll claim them.
Dana Mars?
Really? So here's what I'm gonna sell you. What I'm gonna tell you then. There's time. You keep that content creation. You can pass up a bunch of people. Most famous Lao person right now. If you're saying A is the one, well then you better go chase her down. Or there's
Yeah,
time.
I'm gonna go find her.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, the other question I have was is there a similar like comedian that comes across like that? As far as let's say Joe Coy. Joe Coy, there are some other Filipino comedians that crossed over and actually made a lot of folks laugh and everything like that. Like Rex Navarrete was solid, but he was
Mhm.
more like he kind of spoke more to the Filipino crowd, the Filipino American crowd, and they appreciated it more. It never crossed over to the mainstream. Now, mind you, Joe Coy's half, I think. I
Mhm.
believe he's
Mhm.
He
not
is
full
half.
Filipino,
Yeah.
but he puts it down as if he was full, and he's basically all he does is talk about his moms and
Mhm.
just the accent. Is there a Lao comedian that can cross over like that and basically introduce the Lao culture through comedy and have the mainstream understand that? Because I want to be on. I want to hear how that would carry over.
Right now, I feel like with our Lao Americans is that there's a lot of firsts happening right
Hmm.
now. There's a
Hmm.
lot of firsts happening right now, and right now, I will still say is A baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get her on. She's so dang busy.
she's busy.
She joined that group over in Chicago, and they did this this follow up with her, and they followed her around. Now she's doing her own thing. She looks exhausted every time she's posting.
The other day, I saw her on TikTok rolling spring rolls. So you know
She
what, you
wilding.
need it.
Yeah. So A, okay. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, look at us just
Yeah.
giving her flowers and bumping her up. Okay.
I love A. I love A. And she
We'll
gives
have
me
to
my
tag her.
flowers. I need to give
We'll
her
have to keep
her
on tagging
flowers.
her, and
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
she'll maybe if we can get her together, we'll if I can get borrow some time with her, I'll bring you back on. We can just all chop it up.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Listen, we're bumping into around that time to where, you know, I think it's usually where we kind of try to wind down our show. What's going on? What's next with you? I know you're doing this I forget what you had called it. You have another group that you're forming. I think it was
Yeah.
I forget already.
I started off Southeast Collective, so
Southeast Collective.
Yeah, it's about creating a space for
Mhm.
our Southeast Asians to just make a splash and promote your business, promote who you are, and just
So what
be
is that? Is that a
happy in
site?
your identity.
Is that an IG? What is that? Where can we find
It's
that and support it?
it's on IG. It's _ Southeast and then .collective and then
I'll
underscore.
have to check that out.
But I'm having a night market happening February 22nd. So I'm bringing food vendors, non-food vendors, entertainers, and we're gonna have it at a brewery and have everybody come together.
Is that it?
No,
Oh,
Southeast
Southeast
_ Southeast and then .collective Southeast.
collective.
If you can find it on my IG,
Okay.
if anything.
Okay. So if anybody wants to look that up and support it, I'm definitely going to be looking at it after the show here. It's you can find it at Victoria's IG. It's at that one Lao girl. LAO girl. Okay. He asked me, it's like, well, who's gonna be on the show? I don't know, that one Lao girl. And then she's like, yeah, that's funny.
I was like, who that? What's my girl?
And you're still pretty active in it with Silmaguk?
Yeah.
Gary
Gary runs a lot of the Instagram, but you know, we discuss things all the time, and I send him videos all the time.
Okay.
Right now, we're just doing a lot of reposts, or when people tag us, and we just post their videos. It's just like a little nice platform to put everybody on.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on all the stuff that you've been working on, and plus all this new stuff. You're staying busy. You got a couple, you got work, you got school, you got all these other things that you're getting into, plus the content creation. More power to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This was, we tried to get you here for a little bit, but then now we finally got you here. It was definitely a pleasure. For Miss Halima, I think we lost her a few minutes back then. I think she may have lost some of her.
She had said her phone died and stuff like that, and the kids were winding up.
Okay,
So.
that's just how it is. It's a live show, and this is what we do. We'll be here again next week, next Monday. We haven't figured out what we're actually going to be doing for that show. I think we've got a couple ideas. We'll have it out probably by Wednesday. So, thank you. You want to plug anything? Anything?
Yeah, actually I do. So thank you to the winner, Cam. We'll be sending you your shirt soon. I kind of know where it's going to. So, but anyways, so 11/9, I'm starting to bring that up with the whole jewelry things. If anybody knows, I started off doing the grills first and stuff like that, doing promos every month. But now I'm actually moving to full on jewelry. So if anybody's looking for like a nice set for Valentine's Day for that special person, hit me up. Let me know. You can follow me at 11/9 Jewelry on Instagram. And then, so great deals happening right before the whole holiday thing. So make sure you guys plug in with me.
Dope. Yeah, please visit, check him out. I always ask him to. I mean, he's doing a lot of things in the background here. He's hopping on a show, but he's also got his businesses and everything like that. So I appreciate him weekly for hopping on. Victoria, please hang on after the show here. I'm going to go ahead and run credits, and we'll chat after that. All right, peace, everyone. We'll see y'all next week.